So who has a 100-word summary of the trouble you got into 2 weeks ago?
Not me.
20 feet of dim darkness.
We have been. Go ahead.
Did we play with the windows last week? Is that what we were doing?
We played with the windows. Raazu was very upset with you guys playing with the windows. But then she kind of came around to it a little bit, and then she had to bail you guys out, apparently. Nah, it wasn't really that bad.
We had it fixed before you even got there, so nah. But we rescued a drow for some reason.
Yep.
We did do that. That is a thing we did.
And now she is going to help us murder Daedrodiah's boss.
Yeah, Daedrodiah has tasked us with slaying Lord Taya, the apparent master of this castle, who has been asleep for decades or possibly centuries. No one's really sure. And she's kind of left it to us to figure it out because she's unable to give us any aid in that regard. She can she can set up a room for us, but that's about it. So, also again, I will point out that since I don't think we were live when I said this, but she was very cagey about the nature of the window. All she told us is that the setting that the window is shifted to, that is locked. If it's shifted to, it will unmake the castle, or something horrible will happen. That's what she implied, and she gave us the key to do that, with the understanding that it's kind of the trust that she's placing in us.
So you're gonna go use that key?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, let's just turn off the safeties just in case. It'd be too slow if we need to disengage them later.
I have a real question.
Yeah.
Is this map where we were? Because I don't remember us ending in the treasury.
No, I
we
was just
were
hoping that you
upstairs.
guys were gonna go fight Lord Taya at this point.
Okay, yes. Got it. I just was like, oh shit, am I missing like a chunk of memory?
No, as I
That was my
recall,
only concern.
We were up on the 3rd floor.
Yes.
And Birdie is gigantic. My goodness, Birdie, what happened? What have you been eating?
It's
the fruit.
It's
Raazu.
fucking tabletop.
Oh, it's not the fruit because Wendy won't give me any fruit. God damn it, Wendy.
I can't.
I will
streak
give you
Birdie.
fruit as long as you promise to eat it. And you won't.
I promised to eat some of the fruit.
Yeah. See?
Well, I mean, I'm small. I got a small stomach.
Yeah.
Clean your plate, mister.
And this trap's going, so.
I can't. Interesting. Oh, you know what? I think my keyboard died. I think the batteries died in my keyboard.
Oh no, that's
That
not good.
happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
That's not good. That's not a good prize.
All right, I got to replace those before I can do anything.
So yeah,
Let's all talk behind Brickrod's back.
no, I will.
Still here. My headphones go all the way to where the batteries are being held.
No, I think that
Well-known trash boy.
yes, well-known trash boy Birdie needs to not be such a dickhead. So yeah.
I was talking about Brick Road.
Oh, I mean that too.
They can both be trash boys.
Yeah, but only one of them is well-known.
Oh, that's true.
So, I'm of the opinion that since Daedrodiah was so cagey about about this window, both in telling us its nature and what it could do, and also its and also like I think we need to experiment with it. And she says that those with, I believe is what she said, is those with the will to come back will find a way to come back. So again, she wouldn't have, If it were just a thing, she would have just told us. And since she wants us to do this thing, she obviously would want us to come back if we went through the window. So what I'm thinking is that she can't tell us directly how the way to come back because the window is what am I trying to say here? That the window might be the key to defeating Lord Taya.
Alternately, she's evil, and she just gave us the key because she think it would be funny if we killed ourselves.
She not gonna give us a way to kill ourselves and kill her.
Yeah. Which she might have very well just given us a way to kill ourselves and not her.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, though. She wants us to do this thing for her.
I mean,
So why would she go through all this hullabaloo of asking us to do this thing only to just kill us? Like, that doesn't make sense.
boredom? I don't know.
Here's my thought: is that
Okay.
you could be right, Raazu, in that using this window would kill Lord Taya, and that's why she gave us the key. I also think that if something is going to kill Lord Taya when we put it in and it's a magic item, it will also kill us, and that will solve 2 of her problems. So I'm not 100% a fan of the idea of turning that lock.
Well, no, I'm not saying we open up the lock. I'm saying that the key to defeating Lord Taya might exist in those other realms that the window is connected to. The city, the beach, and whatnot.
Mm.
That's my theory.
So what's next?
Well, like if you think we should explore the city, there's only one of us who could reasonably actually go to the city, especially if it's in the Southlands, without being killed on sight. More likely. Well, maybe Wendy. I don't know the Southlings' like views on Aarakocra.
Probably not
Dim.
big fans.
As far as I can tell, and like we've also the party has had conversations with other people that have been from the south. That any one of us, if we were found out, would be killed on sight in the Southlands, or locked in irons and paraded to the wall, and heads chopped off, left on the left.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't know for certain that it's in the south. Like,
And
it could
to
be anywhere.
Very clear. Red is the most human-like of you, but without actual effort to disguise himself, he will not pass for human on anything but the most cursory inspection. Primarily,
but-
his eyes look nothing like a human's, and parts of his skin have scales over them like a snake does.
Yeah.
So we need sunglasses and a note from a dermatologist. Gotcha.
I don't want to visit the human realm. Humans smell.
Also true. They're very good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm human.
So-
I'm gonna deck myself out
so-
in flower scent. What's that
So
about?
here's
That's
what
nonsense.
here's what I say we do. I say we slide the window back to the beach setting and just do some cursory testing.
I mean, I'm all
So
a fan of judging what exactly is behind each of those windows.
yeah.
So what was it? It was the beach, the
There
city,
was the castle
middle of-
battlement, which looks
Yeah.
outside to the curtain wall. A
Yep.
weird tomato, which looks at the beach scene. A knight's shield, which looks over the city. A cattail, which looks into somewhere underneath a marsh. A spined circle, which looks out into an open desert where you saw those porcupine nomad creatures.
Yep.
A wave, which looked out into an ocean. A mushroom, which looked out into the Underdark. And the last one had no symbol, and it's the one that's locked.
Right. So we've already taken a step out into the beach, so we know that it's relatively safe for someone to stand there for a few minutes. So what I propose is that Raazu will step out onto the beach with no tether. What she's going to do is she's going to plant she's going to put a trident in the ground, or not a trident, a javelin in the ground right where she steps out at, and then attempt to turn around and come back to the castle on her own power.
Okay. So you get back into the room.
How long do you want us to wait before we throw a rope through?
Just give it a shot.
Give it 5 minutes, probably.
Gotcha.
So you turn it
Tomorrow
to
morning.
the weird tomato.
Yep, the weird tomato.
Raazu, you climb through the window out into the beach scene. And turning around, you just see the ocean. You're just looking out at the beach. You plant your javelin in the ground right there.
Yep. And then she attempts to turn around and walk back.
Okay, and you walk past your javelin towards the water. Those of you in the castle, you see Raazu put her javelin in the ground as she walks towards you, but she doesn't come back through the window. Now you can't see her anymore.
Wendy waves goodbye.
Raazu steps back around to the side of the javelin, next to the water.
Mm-hmm.
Then she closes her eyes, pictures Vorlak Keep as best she can, with it's horrible lightning lasers and all of that stuff, and then she attempts to try and come back to will like I'm not stepping back onto the beach, I'm stepping back into the stone of the keep of the castle.
And as you step in that direction, your boots feel the crunch of wet sand, and you find yourself still standing on the beach.
She's back. What do you guys think she'll do next?
I think she'll probably get angry, but I think we should leave her there because she needs a vacation. just a couple of hours, not nothing long.
What's next?
Birdie, you have a knack of making things worse. It's incredible.
Thank you.
You really want to deal with a Raazu annoyed 8 hours from now that we didn't rescue her?
We'll just
How long
throw
does she say we should wait?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
We'll give her a nice 5-minute vacation.
We should throw a letter through saying just chill out for, a while, and then get some
Birdie?
sun.
If you want, we could put you through and you could tell her.
I just want to know why you think that would work, Birdie.
I don't know. We haven't tried it yet.
Meanwhile, Raazu is trying different permutations
point.
of, perhaps facing a different way, perhaps, stepping backwards.
Now she's out there walking backwards, hopping on one foot with her finger to her nose, back and forth across the window, doing circles around the javelin.
This is amusing.
Then Raazu shrugs and then gives an impatient wave once the 5 minutes are coming up to time.
Wendy waits until about 4 minutes and 45 seconds and then says, I want to try something. And she puts half of... Birdie, what kind of stick-like thing do you have?
I have a shovel.
It puts half the shovel, the pole half, just sticking a little bit out of the window and says, come get me if I can't get back. And then just pops out and says, hey, Raazu. Goes to get some fruit and comes back.
So you're setting the shovel on the windowsill?
No, just just a little bit of the shaft sticking out of the window. Maybe
Right.
an inch.
But how are you resting it there?
Oh, yeah, resting on the windowsill.
Okay. So, yeah, Raazu, you see Wendy pop out, and part of Birdie's shovel is just poking out of thin air now. Just sitting up in... looks like it's just floating in empty space, but only a part of it.
Raazu reaches out, touches the shovel.
And it feels like a shovel.
And then Raazu, while holding her hand onto it, not moving it or jostling it anyway, she will try and step forward while touching the shovel.
And when you do that, moving your hand along the shovel, you manage to pull yourself back into the room in Vornak Keep.
Okay, so I don't see any super danger in... as long as there's some kind of tether, but I keep wondering what she meant by having the will to come back. I mean, this is just an anchor, unless we're only meant to fuck with this one step at a time.
And Wendy, following Raazu's guide, pops through the window after her.
Okay.
Can I have some fruit?
And Wendy looks out the window to see if she can see anyone, and then after a second gives Birdie some fruit.
Okay. Birdie,
Birdie
you have your very own weird tomato at long last.
Right. Awesome. I just kind of put it underneath my coat or my my hat. I put it underneath my cloak.
Do we have a little indicator here of where the window is set?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
We had the
Raazu, I
yeah.
just want you to know that Birdie definitely did not suggest we should leave you there for 8 hours for a vacation.
Raazu narrows
Not-
her eyes at
He did not suggest that.
Raazu narrows her eyes at Birdie.
Birdie is face palming.
Who
He
are
goes, "You
throwing
like the
tomato at?"
ocean?"
And then says,
Nobody.
"That might."
Birdie would never
That-
throw a tomato because he knows how much I hate seeing people waste food.
That might not be a bad idea, actually. That's actually a really nice place that I could maybe
Is
make
it-
some
is it-
prayer sauce from there.
So, Wendy, if you don't like, you hate me wasting food, right? So, question: if I find a hungry person to throw the weird tomato at, is that still wasting food?
How hungry are they?
I don't know. Pretty hungry, like maybe destitute on the street, like a bum, maybe. If I
He
just
wants to
hit 'em
start
with a-
winging tomatoes down into the city, is what he's saying.
Yeah, we know.
What's next?
I know, but if I phrase it right, Wendy will let me do it.
Do you guys want me to explore the city?
It's
Do
that's
you
up
actually
to
think
you,
that's
man.
going to be a?
A worthwhile
Well,
endeavor?
I
I
mean,
mean,
the
I
thing
don't
is-
see the harm in it.
It might
No.
take a while
Here's
because
the thing, though, is I don't know how Red's going to get back because it looked like we were staring down into
yeah,
the city from
let's
up
move it over
above.
to the city. I have some thoughts on that, but let's confirm what I think is happening here.
I think he said it was 300 feet up in this air, give or take.
Looks about a
Yeah.
300-foot drop, and the buildings in the area are not high enough to reach this point in space.
So
here's what I would like to. So here's my opinion on how the best way to explore this city would be. We have to sit here and figure out how long the days are by watching the shadows, and then you can drop a rope at a specific time of day for me.
we don't.
Wendy
have enough
looks
room.
over at the window for a second with a bit of haft of shovel sticking out of it, and then turns the gear to put it over to the city.
No!
And the shovel is destroyed. The spade
The entire shovel?
half, which was on this side of the window, clatters
Yeah.
to the ground, leaving the pole on the other side as you turn.
Birdie
over to
turns
the
around and
city.
starts like hitting Wendy, like just like
There's
those
only
little
like an
fists.
inch of it missing. There's
So
only
is-
like an inch.
All right, Raazu. So is your plan now? Let's just hold
Birdie.
the guy halfway through this thing and spin it.
That shovel was perfectly weighted to your exact dimensions. And
Exactly.
100% useless now and cannot be repaired by
Specially
any
weighted
means.
Masterwork birdie shovel.
It's
My-
just this. Listen, Birdie, it's just a spade now.
But my mother gave me that shovel, and he's like still just punching.
I saw you buy it.
No, you didn't. I've had that shovel since we started.
You're full of it, buddy.
You got 4 more shovels just like it. But
Birdie's
effortlessly.
nuts.
There's no resistance as you're turning it over. You don't feel any resistance whatsoever. It's just the shovel, as soon as the picture in the window starts turning, the shovel is destroyed.
So I got a thought. How about we just stick what's his name a little bit out of the window?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah. And
see
turn
if
that
the-
right over.
If gravity like shifts over and drops him to his death, or
No,
No,
What
just
the-
turn the wheel.
just turn the wheel.
Like a cheese slicer.
wait, are you saying you want to just drop him in there without any idea of what he's doing in there?
No. We want to
And then
hang him
just-
half. We want to hang him halfway out and then cut him in half.
And then cut him
No.
in half.
Is that how you get 2 demons, Raazu?
Is it like octopi?
I don't
Or
think it's gonna
starfish?
work. Okay, so how are you gonna lure that guy up here?
Well, he's asleep. We just carry him, right?
We just carry.
All right. Do you think you could carry me while I'm sleeping up 3 flights of stairs?
No, but I think you could carry you while you're sleeping.
Yeah, and then
I got even odds on Adrex being able to do it.
and Adrix is here to help. So between the two of you, you could definitely carry you.
without jostling me and waking me up.
He's like in magic, like evil, like eternal sleep, right?
Yeah. So if we want to explore the city, that's my thought. Is if we can observe it for a fair amount of time to figure out how time passes, watching the shadows, and then you can drop a rope through at a specific time of day for me to come back up.
Okay, yeah, and she did say that our timetable was our own, so we're not like in any time crunch right this second.
I mean, if we're going to be, yeah, I suppose. How high are we from the city?
300 feet.
That's pretty far.
So
Yeah.
Birdie's digging through his pack when all this conversation is going. He's chiming every once in a while. Well, like we have somebody here. We have two people here that can fly. So like we could get a rope up and down.
At that, Adrex's wings start to like shrink a little bit. Like,
Oh yeah, I guess we don't. He doesn't need to climb the rope. We just pull it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I just don't think it's a good idea to leave a rope here for however long I'm going to be in that city.
No, sure,
Yeah.
that makes sense. We just pull it back up and then we drop it down and let you through. What's So how long did you say this was going to take?
Well, I'd want to watch it for at least 2 days on that side's time frame to figure out how long the days are, so that we can get together and figure out a time that you'll pull the rope down for me.
All right.
In
Well,
that
we should
case-
test something then. And Wendy swaps it back to the beach.
Okay.
Okay.
And laying on the sand just in front of the window is the piece of shovel handle that you've just cruelly destroyed for no reason.
Cruelly
Birdie-
destroyed.
Birdie whips around, points the wand to create water at Wendy, and drops 10 gallons of water on her head.
That's fair. Wendy just stands there like, no, that's reasonable.
In that case, let me go out onto the beach and check up on me every so often, every couple of hours, and let me do my thing.
So,
So let me go down the list here. So, Red, you're going to spend the time in this room monitoring the city?
Yeah, I want to get a feel for how fast time flows, watch the flow of traffic, that sort of thing.
And Raazu, you want to spend it on the beach?
Yeah, Raazu wants to go out onto the beach and spend the time in communing with Osprey.
What are the rest of you doing for these? Red's going to spend 2 days?
I do need a rest before I actually go through it, but so maybe a day just observing the city.
Okay.
I want to do a quick test beforehand, which is I want them to swap it back to the city while me and Raazu are on the beach, and then I'm gonna blow on Red's horn, trying to get Red's attention.
So you want to go out to the
That's
beach
a
with
good one.
Razu, have them
Yeah.
switch it, and then blow the horn.
Yeah, and see if Red hears anything.
And Red, you cannot.
Okay.
There's no way to signal.
And then if Red's gonna be doing this for 2 days, on the second day, I want to try it with it still on the beach. If the beach, like if while they're connected to the beach, it goes through. But yeah, I'm
If
gonna
you're-
spend the time
If
with
you're in the
Raazu.
room watching through the window and you can see the people on the other side, they can hear the horn if it's blown.
Okay.
Oh, well, then we don't necessarily. As long as they're willing to watch, we don't necessarily need to figure out the timing. Good call.
And I'll give Red back his horn, but that's on the second day.
Yeah.
And so for the first day, I'm going to spend it with Raazu on the beach.
Okay.
Question: what is Thada up to right now? What is
Thada-
she doing?
Watches your investigations with great interest. How much have you told her about what your job is to kill Lord Taya?
I'm probably kind of mum on that.
Mm-hmm.
At least while we're in the castle.
Okay.
Yeah, is she
Um,
willing to come onto the beach? I'll give her some training for the day.
It takes some coaxing. But she does. And you can tell that she's very uncomfortable, at least at the outset, because this is a person who's never felt warmth of that latitude before.
Then let me. Then Raazu has an idea to give her something to occupy her time. Did what's this? Fucking dead ass fucking neckbeard. What's his name again?
Marcus Person?
No.
Seems right.
I mean, wow. Nice.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The paladin that we beat up
Circasus.
before we got
Circasus.
Yeah,
Circasus,
he-
that's right.
It wasn't a neckbeard. He
If
didn't
you're,
mention
if
My
you're worried
Little
about
Pony
Fada
once.
having something to occupy your time, don't worry about it. You guys haven't seen Wendy train anyone anymore yet. If Wendy's training someone, they're going to bed when they're dropping.
So what is Adrex doing
Raazu-
for this downtime? To be clear, during this time, you won't have to worry about random encounters in the castle unless you go out of your way to do something dangerous. You do have a room that's been given to you to stay in, and Daedra has told you, because some of you were talking about freeing the slaves from the castle, and Daedra has told you before you commit to those kind of actions, you may want to speak to the Ant Keeper, who she says has might have something to say on the topic. That's where we had left it when we broke last session.
So, Raazu and Wendy are going to the beach, and Red is studying the city, right?
Red is monitoring the city for the day.
Well, Birdie, do you want to go talk to the Ant-Man?
Not particularly, but I'll go with you if you want.
I'll examine this ant.
What do we want to ask the Ant-Man? What do we need to know from the Ant-Man?
Like, I honestly, can I ride one of your ants? Like, how big are these ants? Can I ride the ants? Like, no, seriously. Imagine me riding into battle on a giant ant. How awesome.
Yeah, sounds horrible.
That sounds like the worst.
Oh, I have a new goal.
Red, make an investigation check at disadvantage.
Okay.
Raazu, incur a level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Oh, not Raazu. I'm sorry, Wendy, incur a level of exhaustion.
Okay.
Raazu, incur a level of getting shit-faced. I assume.
I guess.
It's a pirate
I
god.
mean, yeah.
It's 22 on investigate.
Okay. Watching the
Raazu-
city for the full day. When it's daylight outside of Voronoc Keep, it's daylight in the city. When it's nighttime in the keep, it's nighttime in the city. The window looks out over what looks to be a grand marketplace, perhaps in the center of this city. And it's less busy at nights, but it never gets to a point where it's dead. It looks like the city is large enough that it never sleeps. Very difficult to get a bead on like individual activities from this distance.
We have a spyglass, don't we?
Oh yeah. By the way, Birdie, I want that from you at some point.
I mean, you can just have it. I don't want it. I don't even remember what it does.
Red, are you looking with the spyglass in this case?
If Birdie lets me have it, I mean, it sounds like he has it right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can have it.
Okay.
And it,
Back and forth across the bazaar, you're looking at... most people are walking on foot. Some people are riding horseback. You also see large carriages that wheel back and forth, wheelhouses, essentially. And the most magnificent of these is emblazoned on the side. Are you trained in nature?
No.
Emblazoned on the side with a creature of the likes of which you have not seen. It looks like a large cat, colored black, but coming off of the thing's back are two whip-like tentacles. And you realize you're looking at like house colors, the types of which you've seen emblazoned on shields and armor from Southling lands. The cat sits on a sky blue field and holds a knife in its jaws. This particular carriage that you see seems to be the wealthiest, most opulent one and is a cause for great acclamation down in the city. Like when this particular carriage shows up, people part to allow it passage. It draws a crowd that seems to follow it as it goes along. And you follow this thing as long as you can until it exits the boundary of your window. And this happens fairly early in the morning. After sunrise, but still fairly early in the morning. Raazu,
Yes.
what are you doing on the beach?
Raazu is well, first of all, does Thada want to train with Wendy? Because Raazu has a counter offer for her.
Are you two
Did
fighting
what's his,
over this orc?
Possibly.
I don't know. I thought someone was blessing Osprey.
Well, I mean, here's the thing though: is like, does Thada know how to tend armor?
Oh yes.
She's trained it as a squire.
Yes.
Then Raazu would request her services in that capacity.
How are you making this request? Are you making this request as though she's obligated to do this?
No. And I would compensate you with whatever you think is fair for that.
The idea of whatever, fair compensation doesn't seem to make sense to her. This is an alien concept to her.
Talking about coin, or something of that nature? Since you're not my squire by title or anything like that.
She says she's happy to scour your mail for you if that's what you require.
All right, that'll suffice.
What else are you doing?
Then Raazu will set up a campfire on the beach and perform the rituals that she's been doing. You know, she'll take a pinch of the smoke and oots and throw it into the fire and offer prayers.
During your training, Wendy, Thada seems distracted because after she's done cleaning and tending Raazu's armor, the spectacle of what Raazu is doing just constantly draws her attention. She's never seen anything like it. You find her a very distracted student.
I'm gonna ask her about. Did you follow the same goddess Circasus? The, I don't know, horse thing?
She tells you about the orc gods that her people followed before she was taken, but she does so in a very matter-of-fact sense. Like she's just reciting something she's heard. You can tell that this girl has no faith in any gods.
Well, if you want someone who can actually do something for you, you should ask Raazu, because I've seen her god actually do stuff. It's pretty impressive. I'm pretty sure she came back from the dead.
And she looks back at Raazu, and Raazu's doing a naked rain dance covered in oatmeal or some weird shit.
Yeah.
Not quite, no.
Raazu, make a religion check.
Let's see. One second. My character sheet decided to derp on me. I had to refresh the thing here.
They did add
religion.
PDF support in Tabletop Simulator recently, which is
neat.
interesting. I feel like every campaign we have more and more resources we have to look at and then decide, no, this is still not as good as just having an external character sheet.
Here we go. That is a 22.
22. You yourself find yourself also very distracted. And you're not sure why. The scene seems right. This is the first time you've been able to do these rituals on the shore of an actual ocean. But
Yep.
just every time you feel yourself giving over to the spirit of Osprey, you find yourself focusing on the empty hilt that you took off of Circasus's corpse, the one that you took. And right now it's just sitting in your pack off to the side away from the fire. And no matter how you try, you just cannot reach that level of meditation that you were hoping for. And it's beginning to frustrate you. And it's beginning to feel like Ostrom is getting farther and farther away from you.
Raazu takes out the hilt
Mm-hmm.
and hurls it into the ocean as far as she can.
Okay? And something stops you as you do this. And you find yourself unable to do this thing. And you're not sure why.
I'll walk over to Thada and say, "What can you tell me about this?" And she holds up the hilt.
At this point, Thada is wiped because she's been training with Windy all day as the sun's going down. So you kick the girl awake. She looks up. And she just explains that it's a sword made out of light that Sir Castus has had the whole time she's been here for sure. She thinks he's brought it with him from the Southlands. But that's the limit of what she knows. It's a sword made out of light.
You should conquest it for your god. Get a nice Ostrom sword. Water sword?
Well, I mean, I've never.
She's a pirate god, right? Surely she appreciates booty and that sort of thing.
That's kind of my thought was to offer it as a sacrifice to Ostrom by throwing it in the ocean, but I don't know, that just doesn't feel right.
No, that's a waste. What you should do is try to just convert it to an Ostrom sword. It's got to have a use.
Can you do that?
I don't know. I don't know how gods work.
Very confused.
Just give it a shot. I thought all your stuff was made up at this point.
I mean, I am kind of coming up with this as I go, but...
Sure, so you're in charge of whether or not you can do that or not. You're high priestess or whatever.
This sounds dubious.
If you say Ostrom can remake swords, Ostrom can remake swords as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, Raazu will put the sword hilt in front of her. She goes back over to the fire, puts that down on the sand in front of her. And I guess she starts focusing on the blade that doesn't exist, and trying to picture instead of whatever garbage god Circassius followed, that it's the power of Ostrom there, like the same kind of energy where she gets her smites.
Let's be clear, when we're talking about garbage gods in my campaigns, I don't think you get more garbage than Ostrom. Ostrom was about to die before some death metal burnout converted to her high priestess. The desperation of Ostrom is the title of the next campaign.
I'm just gonna throw this out here. Maybe Ostrom was so burnt out because she kept having to remake swords and all kinds of shit, some kind of whip.
I think we need to clip that and send it to frickin' Nick.
Does Raazu have an open attunement slot?
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
As you're focusing your attention and focusing your will into this blade, you feel that connectedness with Ostrom once again. And the hilt melts in your hand as you're holding it. And instead of the hilt of a sword, it takes on the properties of the handle of a whip.
Oh, God.
And as you continue to focus, it turns into the handle of a trident. Or a javelin. Or a hammer. Or whatever weapon you desire. You've attuned to a Holy Avenger.
Okay.
As a bonus action, you can make this take on the form of any weapon you're proficient with, ranged or melee.
Wow, okay.
It has the properties of a Holy Avenger, which is it's a +3 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with the weapon.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit a fiend or an undead with it, that creature takes an extra 2d10 points of radiant damage.
The Holy Avenger might be in the compendium.
It's in the DMG.
Yeah.
In addition to what's printed in there, it has the ability to change its form as a bonus action, and every paladin spell in the PHB that ends in smite, or actually there's also one in Xanathar's. I think there's 4 or 5 total. Raazu now has access to while wielding this weapon.
Okay, wow, okay.
So instead of just using the basic Paladin smites, you can use this Avenger to access Thunderous Smite and Smelting Smite and Burning Smite and all of the good stuff.
Wow.
All of the terrible shit Circasus was doing to you during that battle.
That's an impressive kit. Like, I was looking at that and it was like, man, I really wish I could cast these spells to, do other things with my smites. Well, here we go.
I like that this is seen as a very powerful boon to Raazu, just giving her access to shit that every other paladin just has naturally.
Yes. Yeah.
But you
And
don't
Raazu
have
was-
access to any other paladin spells. These use up paladin spell slots to cast. They will not use up blips.
Okay, so they use my spells as
Right.
as a normal paladin would.
Yes. Basically, you can prepare spells as a paladin at the end of a long rest. You only have access to ones that end in smite.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add this as a longsword.
Birdie and Adrex,
Yes, sir.
heading down to the basement for the day. You now have the key to this door,
Mm-hmm.
where the Ant Keeper resides. As you approach the door, a man is standing outside of it. A Yikaria, one of the Yak folk, with gray skin, and on the side of his face, you see, has been, maybe mutilated is too hard of a word, but it's been clearly damaged, very, very badly damaged. And you think back to Lady Olaine and her man harem, how they all had her mark on the side of her head. It looks like he at one point had one of those marks, but has since removed the fur and flesh from that area of his face to hide it with scar tissue. He smells very dirty, like a man who works in the earth all day, and he's standing at the door as though expecting you. And he turns to look. He's very old and has a very gruff demeanor. And the first thing he says to you is he was told to expect 5. I'm sorry, he was told to expect 6 because Ayashara would be with you.
Yeah, 2 of them went to the beach. Another one is studying for something.
Ayashar is resting, isn't she?
Ayashara is staying in the room with Red, watching the window.
Okay. 2 of them were studying. 2 of them decided to go to the beach. We decided to talk to you. I'm Adrex. That's Birdie. He's probably going to build like a trap or something. Just let him do that. It's like a nervous tick of his or something.
He asked how he's going to build a trap without a useful shovel.
Birdie just starts. Birdie just tears up, like.
He tells you that his given name is Binbicken. Binbicken.
Binbicken.
He says he has the honor to be Lady Daedridaya's Ant Keeper.
Oh, so you are the Ant-Man. All right. Cool.
Birdie raises a hand and says, "Hey, how big are the ants?"
He turns and speaks the command word to open this door. And he says, "I bid you follow."
Yeah, Adrex will follow.
It's like, I don't need a shovel if I get an ant to dig for me.
This room 24 is filled with dirt and clumps of rock, all kinds of digging materials, chisels and picks and hammers and things. You see a large space in the middle of the floor, a clearing space, where it looks like Binbiggin works, where you're not sure what he's doing with the soil and the earth and whatnot, but it's apparently very important work. And it's all piled up in the corners and against the walls. The next room he takes you into is his personal quarters. It's a humble but well-lit room. There's a great woolen curtain hanging along the back wall, and it's long enough to drag along the floor and across a straw mattress that he uses as a bed.
Do you work in the sand too, like paranoid goblin lady?
He says he gives the glass blower as wide a berth as he can. He does not enjoy her company. For that matter, he doesn't enjoy anyone's company. And you can start to tell that the sooner he gets this meeting over with, the better, as far as he's concerned.
Oh, now Adrex wants a best friend.
Hanging along this wall back here is a large net. And he walks over, and he reaches out and takes it off the wall. And as he does, it looks like it's made of a silvery or white rope, but as he picks it up and moves it, you hear the jingling, like it's made out of metal. And he swings it over his shoulder, and he pulls part of the curtain aside. And there is a secret door behind it. Not secret door, just a door behind the curtain that he opens up.
Mm.
Going into room 26 here. This room is not a stone room. This is a room of earthen walls and roof. It's braced with arching white wood and a frozen metal mesh. So you've got this kind of extremely cold metal links all across the walls of the room that you can actually reach through and touch the frozen earth. The soil doesn't look like it's any danger of collapsing here because, as mentioned, it's frozen. But at floor level, you see many holes dug into the earth all around. Birdie, to your dismay, these holes are too small to harbor a creature that you could ride.
Aw. Like, okay, so still, how big are the ants? Are we talking like, are they still like football sized? Are they normal ants?
Binbicken waits impatiently for you to be done talking. And then he tilts his head down, so his great hairy chin is resting on his chest, and he starts letting out this low rumbling sound that sounds somewhere between like clearing your throat and carrying a tune. This brum, 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 brum sound. And as he does, you start hearing skittering from every wall of the room.
Adrex will take a step back.
Birdie takes a step forward. He's kind of excited.
You take a step forward to the center of the room with the Yak Man.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're encircled by several dungeon giant ants. These are still small-sized creatures, but a swarm of ants is typically a tiny thing. And these ants are... You never noticed how ugly ants are before. The little hairs and their eyes and their antennae, and they skitter out, and there's all different colors of them. And you realize that they're not naturally colored that way. They've been very meticulously painted in different colors and patterns and combinations. The mandibles coming off the front of these ants' faces that are snapping as they're skittering around and coming up within a few inches of you, but no closer. And you can smell this very acrid scent, like very, very hot chilies, powderized. If you've ever tried to powderize dry chilies in a food processor and you open it up and you get that blast in your face, it's a bit what it smells like. And Binbicken, when he's done summoning the ants into the room, and he lifts his head again and looks down at Birdie. So I guess he's not really lifting his head. And he says, "These are my children."